Hello, 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 everyone. Thanks for tuning in to another episode. This one is Just Give Me an Abundance Mindset, whatever that looks like. Before I get started with the pod, couple of things that I want to talk to you about. So, if you love this shirt, if you're listening and not watching the video, it says, "Sis, do it. Do it fearful. Do it alone. Do it now. God's got you." If you love this shirt, go ahead and look in the description, and there's a link to my girl Erica Michelle Bailey's shop where you can order your version of this. She has hoodies, she has cropped hoodies, she has t-shirts. So go ahead and go over there and get yourself a copy. Also, just a reminder that my book, Poems to Heal the Dead Things, is available in hardback, as well as paperback. It is a journal, so if you're one of those people who like to write, you can write in either one. Obviously, the hardcover is a little bit smaller, but either one, you can journal inside of there. If you would like your copy of that, it is also in the description. So, when we're thinking about an abundance mindset, oftentimes I think that the concept is oftentimes easier than the actual reality of the thing, as far as what does it look like to even do it, right? So, when we're thinking about abundance mindset, we might think, okay, I just have to think that there isn't a scarcity, like there's always going to be more of this thing. And yes, that is part of it, but the difficulty lies in the fact that shifting your thinking isn't just something like a light switch, right? So you don't just go, oh, okay, now I want to think this way, so let me shift that, especially when your conditioning has caused you to have the current mindset that you have. So if you came from a space where people held on to things because of their scarcity mindset, that transcends just monetary things, right? It transcends beyond um, the reason that those people might have had that scarcity mindset. So if you came from a place where people didn't know where they were going to get their next meal and they held on to leftovers and scraps of food and those type of things, yes, you may still have that as it relates to food, but also, you may have acquired that when you're thinking about other things. So, when you're thinking about relationships, when you're thinking about people, when you're thinking about just jobs and life in general, it transcends those barriers. And so, you don't just compartmentalize your scarcity thinking. And that's why it becomes a little bit deeper to adjust that thinking. And so I was in the nail shop this weekend, and my nail tech is from Vietnam. And so my original or my usual nail tech is actually in Vietnam visiting his parents. So his wife did my nails this time. And I always ask about the family and the occurrences of the things. And so I asked her, how's he doing? How's everybody doing there? And she tells me that his mother is on 24-hour care. His parents are elderly, and that he's like cleaning up the place. And so she was telling me this story about how um, they have this three-level home, and inside the home, they are storing a bunch of things. And so she was telling me about the things that they were storing. And her husband, who is like I said, my nail tech, he is not a clutter type of individual. So he likes things a certain way, which is why he's really good at doing my nails. So she says that he was, going through these boxes, and like his dad is like following him around saying, no, don't throw that away. And like everybody in the house is in an uproar because they're angry that he's throwing things away. And she brings up these pillows, and these pillows are very symbolic to me. Like it immediately clicked into my head. So she goes, they have these old pillows that are like, 20 years old, and they've kept them. And her husband wanted to throw them away. And he said, why are you keeping these? Like, let's just throw them away. Why are we keeping something that's like 20 years old? No one's going to ever want to use these pillows. And his dad responds with, well, we never know when we're going to need them. And in his brain, it was like, but you don't need them now and you haven't needed them for 20 years and you bought new ones then. So, like, you'll just buy new ones. But in his dad's brain, because there was that scarcity mindset, it was like, no, we have to hold on to these just in case. And it made me think, wow, we do that. We do that when we have this mindset that there isn't going to be something better. So when you think about yourself inside of the relationships that you're in, and I'm talking platonic, not even romantic at this point. But oftentimes we'll do the thing where we conform to what they ask us to do, or we conform to what they need, or we play the role that they need us to play in order for them to feel good about themselves in an effort to not lose the relationship because we can't fathom being something different, having something different in the name of that relationship. So when you think about like your relationship with your mom or your dad, and like if there's a relationship dynamic there that doesn't serve you, but you're continuing to operate in that space, it really is because of a scarcity mindset. I don't know who I am if this relationship isn't the same that it's always been. And there's no inkling or no consideration in your head that it could actually end up in a better space for you because the relationship dynamic has been created and crafted so that it benefits that the parent or that other person because you tend to be the people pleaser. And so instead of you thinking, okay, perhaps I could change the dynamics of this relationship. Perhaps I could set boundaries. Perhaps I could consider that I'm an adult now and I don't need to operate in the same space from my childhood. And you think about all the ways that you could make that happen, that you could change that dynamic. But then fear sets in because you say, well, what if they don't want a relationship at all? What if I lose that relationship altogether? Or what if this new dynamic makes me feel less loved? Which, side note, it might, because if love looks like being utilized, then it's probably going to make you feel less loved. But then you deal with that feeling of equating love to utility because that's not love, anyways. And so, one of the things that we do is hold on to the thing that we have in the space that it's in because we tell ourselves that in this scarcity mindset that I have, I don't know that this unknown doesn't tell me that there may be something more on the other side of this. So I'm going to hold on to it. I never know when I might need this thing, this dynamic of this relationship, even though it hasn't served me for 20 years, just like those dang pillows in the third floor of that house in Vietnam. Like, it's not serving you. You know that it's not for you. You know that you're not utilizing it in the way that is best for you. But you're afraid that in the in the chance that you might need it, some way somehow, that you should keep it the way that it is and hold on to it because if you let go of it when you need it, you might not have it. And that is 100% scarcity mindset. And you think about when we do this in romantic relationships, right? You think that there isn't going to be a space where the current pillows are no longer serving you and you get rid of those and then you can actually purchase or consider new pillows. No, you're going to hold on to the old ones because perhaps there's nothing better out there for you. Right? And this blew my mind when I connected it because I was like, "Oh my gosh, we do it with more spaces than even just relationally." Like those relationship pieces are the place where we see it most plentifully because those are like big facets of our life, right? So like we stay in this relationship because we don't think there's something better for us. We're afraid to be alone. We're afraid that the next that we walk into will give us less than this current, even though the current is giving us breadcrumbs. We even dig back into our X files, the ones where we have all the people that we used to date before that didn't serve us. And we say, maybe if I rehash this one, like in a new season in life, we could do this again and it will be better. That is a scarcity mindset. It's saying, I only have and can consider what's in front of me. So because of that, I'll stay in this space or go back to that space or recycle this over and over again because my fear of the unknown and my scarcity mindset tells me that there isn't more. And then I started connecting it to even greater things. Like my mom has this box in the bottom of my sister's basement, and it's of artwork that we did when we were elementary school. Now, y'all, I'm 41. So elementary school was like 34 years ago or something, right? And so these are drawings that I did when I was at that age. And she asked if we wanted them. And I'm like, well, no. Like, what am I going to do with a drawing that I did when I was in elementary school? And that wasn't in some like sassy, disrespectful way. It was just like, what am I going to do with it? Like, I have drawings that my kids are making right now in elementary school that I'm hanging and, having them be proud of, but like, I don't need mine from then. But then I started to think about it. There are things that I hold on to from my kids' elementary school years because and I tell myself it's because I want to remember them when they're small, but really it's because I want to remember the role I'm playing to them while they're small, because when they get bigger, they're not going to need me the same. So I want to be able to look back at that thing and say, "Oh, remember when I was heavily needed by these children?" And I thought about it and I said, "Wow, it serves the same purpose." It says, "Right now, I have a scarcity mindset. So I think that when my children get older, they're not going to need me the same. And so therefore, I'm going to hoard and hold on to these pieces of that time period where they needed me the most, because that's what I resonate with. That made me feel significant in life." But I can tell you as a mom to a 22-year-old, a 12-year-old, and a 6-year-old that that 22-year-old needs me in a different capacity. And though it can still be as frustrating as the toddler years, that capacity also holds a level of friendship and respect that the former years did not. So now I have that abundant mentality when it comes to the other two kids, because I'm thinking, yes, right now they need me in this very much like I need you to make my life work capacity. But later in life, they're going to need me in a space where it's freedom from those everyday mundane things. And it's, I'm tapping into you for your wisdom. And I'm tapping into you because this life experience, I need somebody who has more experience with this thing. And it can be like on a friendship level. But if I had that same mindset of scarcity and not abundance, I would hold on to every single second of their lives, because I would think that once they're 18, I have no more years. And won't the world tell us that? Won't it say you only have 18 summers and you only have, well, that's not really true though. That's a scarcity mindset, because the abundance is you're going to have as many summers as they're alive. You're going to have as many summers as you're alive. You're going to have as many summers as your grandchildren are alive. And it just flows abundantly. But because we don't know that life, because we don't have a knowing of what exists in that life, we hold ourselves to this scarcity place. So, what can we do about it? Well, when you have an abundant mindset, things change, right? So when you start telling yourself things like, what's for me is for me, and what's mine is mine, and what I need will be provided, all biblical concepts, and everything is working out for the greater good of this entire blueprint of people, right? When you start telling yourself that and really believing it, really understanding that I don't need those 20-year-old pillows, I can get rid of them because today I have these pillows and tomorrow I'll be able to get myself more pillows. When you really think and believe that to be true, you don't look for what's one level better than what you have right now. So you don't think in terms of, if this relationship isn't serving me, then I'm just going to look for somebody who's a little bit nicer. As somebody who did that, somebody who went from a narcissistically abusive relationship and then transitioned into a covert narcissistically abusive relationship, that was the one level better. So this guy is annihilating my entire character, and he's mean and he's rude and he's mean to my kids and he's rude to me, but he's charming to everyone else. So I'm going to look for somebody who's nice. And then I look for somebody who's nice because that was one level better. And guess what? Same manipulation, same tactics, same annihilation of character. It just happened in a nicer form. When you have an abundance mindset, you stop looking for what's one level better. You don't jump from this job and then say, perhaps I'll go for the next promotion. No, you go all out. I want what exactly is for me based on what I know I have right now, and even what I don't know I have. And I'm going to go for that thing, regardless of if it means failure, rejection, or whatever, because I believe that what's for me is for me and taking the risk is worth it. If you look for just one step better, what happens is the progress is so slow, because then when you get upset or unhappy with that thing, you go for one level better when you could have just jumped 20 levels by just believing that there was more for you. So understanding that the process at which you are doing things with the scarcity mindset is only perpetuating the scarcity mindset. Because if I believe that what's for me is for me, and I try for that thing that I believe is for me, I might bypass all of this because that thing is for me and I'm going to get that thing. Does it mean you're always going to get everything you desire for? Maybe not right now. It just means not yet. But it means that you're going to stop utilizing that scarcity mindset as an excuse to not even attempt it. The second thing is, you will start, and this came from Creflo Dollar. So if you don't follow him on Instagram, I heard him say this and I was like, whoa. So you search for people and places and spaces that you can't live without, instead of the ones that you can just live with. So y'all, that means you are no longer at a space where you'll just tolerate things to have them, to say that they're there, but you'll look for the spaces, places, and people that your life cannot live without. So I can tell you a story about this one, because if you know me, you know that I record with my boy Aquarius Wave. We have several recordings together. If you don't know him, tap into his Instagram or his YouTube page, because he's amazing, and also because our conversations are it's crazy. Like just the level of intellect that happens in those conversations is insane. But when I first like developed a relationship with him, I reached out to him to be on my podcast, right? On a whim, like nervous, just on a whim. I was like, I'm gonna do it, and I did it. I thought he was gonna say no, right? But I operated in that space of what's for you is for you, so try it. Like he's not gonna say yes if you don't attempt it. He said yes. We were going to record a 45-minute podcast that turned into 3 different episodes because we recorded for so long. We didn't even intentionally do it, but it was like, okay, we've been on here for 2.5 hours. Like, this is definitely 3 episodes. The synchronicities between our conversations were crazy. And in the relationship that I was in at that time, when he heard a conversation that we had had, and y'all, if you know your girl, I tell everybody who's in my circle that I love them multiple times, because something that I'm very keen on, I mean, my kids, when we leave the house, when we get off phone conversations, I love you is happening. My friends, I love you is happening. It doesn't matter if they're male, female, or whatever. Like, I'm going to tell you that I love you if I love you, because I want that to be known. And if you hear it from no one else, you're going to hear it from me. So Aquarius and I are on the phone conversation, and inside of that phone conversation, we start to talk about some personal details. And when we were getting off the phone, he says, thank you, I love you, and I appreciate you. And I respond with, I love you too, like, you got this, and you know I'm always here. Well, the person that I was in a relationship with hears that conversation, right? And his response was explosive, which I know that if it's hysterical, it's historical. So I get that it probably touched on some sort of insecurity there. But that is who I am. Like, people are going to know how I feel about them, especially people that I hold close in my circle, right? And so if you know any of my friends, they'll attest to this. I love you happens on every phone conversation, every time we're in the same space. And so if I would have allowed that to stop me from pursuing and continuing that friendship, the content that we've created, the vision that we have for our plan for the future, the synchronicities between what we're doing would not have existed, right? And so he's somebody that I would say in my life, like in this season right now, like I can't imagine being in this season without him. But I was in a relationship with somebody that I was tolerating, and I was thinking, okay, I can live with this and I can live with that. And maybe I'll just change the way I interact with my friends. No, 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 no. Your life is not meant to be lived in a space where you're tolerating people, spaces, and things. I would have missed out on opportunities. I would have missed out on people that I'm in synchronicity with because I was holding on to somebody that I felt like I can live with this, as opposed to saying, okay, this person lights a fire in my belly. I can't live without that relationship. And that is who my close circle is. My closest 10 are the people who light a fire in my belly. Those are the people that I feel like I can't live without. Now, I know people could be taken from you tomorrow, but right now in this season, those people light me on fire. If I have an abundance mindset, I'm not going to stay in spaces where I'm just tolerating behaviors for the sake of whatever it means for me. If I leave this relationship, I'm going to be alone. Okay, but you're alone now because you're tolerating somebody who doesn't really care about you. If I leave this job, then I might not receive a paycheck. Okay, but you're miserable every day going to that job, and the paycheck has been being spent on the healthcare bills from all of the toxicity that's happening inside of your body because of stress from the job. You can find another one. And another one that will serve you. And if you switch your mindset to abundance, you won't just find another job, you'll find a space that fuels your passion. We're not doing that. We're not tolerating things anymore. We're just saying, you know what? This isn't for me. So I'm going to go on to something that is, and something that truly is abundantly mine. And it doesn't have to be from a romantic relationship to another romantic relationship. It could be from a romantic relationship to, whoa, now I had this abundance of time to spend with the people who feed my soul. I was tolerating that person and they were sucking all of my time away. But now I have time to spend with the people who feed my soul. And that's what happens when you walk in abundance. You're not holding on to those old pillows because you know that if you walk into your next, there's going to be an overflow of what you need. And the last one is the fear stops because you allow what's for you to be for you. So when you leave that job, you might be like, oh my gosh, how am I going to pay my bills? That fear stops when you say, you know what? I'm going to go for this. And if it's for me, it will be mine. Period. No fear, no ruminating, no creating situations that don't exist. Just truly and deeply knowing that God's plan for you is abundant. And you can walk into that next space knowing that what He has for you will be yours, that what is for you is 100% yours. And you don't have to be afraid. You don't have to hold on to the conditioning of your scarcity. You don't have to hold on to those ideas and beliefs that were downloaded in you. Because if you look back, those people probably aren't in a space that you want to be in anyway. Why are you going to follow the mantra that exists from people who aren't where you want to be? And that's not on some pride, I'm better than these people thing. It's on some, I choose not to live in scarcity because scarcity breeds scarcity. And I don't want to teach this to my children. And I don't want them to teach it to their children. I want to understand that I don't need to look for what's one level better because I know that what's for me might skip 20 levels. I don't need to tolerate somebody in my life when I want people that I can't live without in my life, people who feed me. And I know that this story was written far before I was even created. And what's for me is going to be for me no matter how much anxiety and rumination I do. So I'm going to chill and sit back and do the things that I know are in my gifts, but know that God is going to plant the next thing right in front of me in abundance. In abundance. Because that is what He does. And that is what being obedient does. And that is what knowing and believing that what's for you is going to be for you does. So today I encourage you, if you are sitting in a space where you're in fear of, but what if this, and what about, stop all that. Kill that noise because that's all it is noise. And tell yourself, I refuse to hold on to these 20-year-old pillows when I know that the pillows right now aren't serving me and something better is ahead of me. I'm not hoarding things anymore. I'm not going to hold on to this drawing from 1987 because it feeds me and makes me feel worthy, because I know that what's in my 2027 is far greater than this thing, than this role that I'm playing, than this thing that I have to hold on to from the past because I don't believe there's more in the future. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you'd like to connect with me, I'm on all social media sites. You can send me a DM there so that we can connect. Also, remember my YouTube page, go like and subscribe to that. You can also go to my website at carrienicole.com to get blogs every Wednesday, as well as all of my content and merchandise. And remember, again, if you would like a copy of my book, Poems to Heal the Dead Things, because you're trying to heal those dead things in your life, the link is in the description. I love you guys, and I will see you next week.